And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
That's right. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is out today. My name is James DeJerome. I'm the executive producer of the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon. Been with him for about 4 years now. We're approaching almost a decade on the air here in the Bay Area as a consumer advocate for you folks out there trying to learn the best way to spend your dollars. We have a great team of folks. Our partners come in and share time, take time out of their busy day to provide some insight into what they do to get you more educated and make your dollar go farther. In addition to that, we have great sponsorship on the Consumer Quarterback Show. The sponsor for this particular segment is the Bilmar Beach Hotel, official hotel sponsor of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brandon goes out there all the time. Clyde Smith, the GM, regularly appears on the program. He'll tell you the best thing about the Bilmar Beach Resort. It's not a cookie-cutter hotel. It's a very unique property. They've got a lot going on out there. Sloppy Joe's on the beach. Lots to do, lots to always do around that area. And get directly in touch with Clyde. He doesn't want you to book through those search engines. He'll get you a better deal. So call Clyde Smith, Bilmar Beach Resort, if you're looking to get out to the beach. And, of course, Brandon owns the Platinum MVP Real Estate team. We're always pitching properties here on the program. And any of these properties that you run into, you can catch on the Consumer Quarterback website, which is consumerqb.com. Get in touch with Brandon directly or the Platinum MVP team if you're looking to get into Lando Lakes. 5602 Lando Lakes Boulevard. This is an amazing opportunity for builders. 6.91 acres, 2 parcels, 4.56 usable uplands. It fronts to Lake Helen up there. It's zone C2. You got water and sewer available. Great expansion along U.S. Highway 41. So again, commercial or building opportunity in the Lando Lakes area at 5602 Lando Lakes Boulevard. Call Brandon and the Platinum MVP team. What else you got for me, John? Madeira Beach. Say if you want to get into Madeira Beach, he's got a cool unit here at 722 Pruitt Drive. 1,471 square feet. It's a duplex right on the beach, deep water access with a large dock. Great place to live, work, and play. Remember, don't leave money on the table. Get in touch with the Platinum MVP team for all your real estate needs. Okay, if you listen to the Consumer Quarterback Show, you know who Capt Will Smith is. He comes in all the time, not just talking about aviation, not just talking about the books he's written, not just talking about his unique experience, but now movie development. So a lot of stuff going on. Capt Will, what's the latest with you?
Well, it's great being here, James.
Thank you so much.
Once again. And the latest with me is right now I'm suffering a little jet lag. So I was in California yesterday. And
so all the way back, what kind of plane did you fly?
It was a Falcon 900, so for a PDQ. And we came back. We were over there playing golf at Pebble Beach. Awesome area.
Yeah.
What I didn't know about that area was Pebble Beach is actually a public golf course. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a private that you think like Augusta. They have 7 golf courses there, and of course we played one. But it was really neat. I enjoyed it. It's completely, when you think about California, you think about maybe San Francisco or Los Angeles. This is like a little fisherman's wharf area where everybody's quiet, very nice, all that good stuff.
Beautiful weather. Hey, how much time do you shave off a commercial trip when you're talking about getting from California to Florida?
A lot, because you're not connecting. It took us to get out there 5 hours and 20 minutes and to get back 4.5 hours.
So a little jet stream support on the way back.
Oh yeah. We had a nice little tailwind coming back. So it's,
what kind of planes? When you think of a trip like that, I think that's cross country. What's optimum for you in terms of hardware that you're going to fly?
With just flying out there? Or?
Yeah, well, if you're going to do a trip like that, what do you think the best plane? What would you like to select if you were going to fly out there?
Oh, you definitely want to go nonstop. So you want to get a Falcon 900, or you want to get a Global or a Gulfstream.
When you say that nonstop, you're talking about the range has to be at least to be able to pull that off.
Right. You want to be able to put enough gas or fuel on the aircraft to be able to take it over there nonstop. And the plane has to have the range as well. So you want the bigger aircraft that can do that. If not, if you did the mid-sized jets, then you're going to have to stop in Las Vegas or Colorado and fuel, and then take the hop again.
Gotcha. Now, recently in the news, I was mentioning, Ray's coming up here on the show, mentioned with him a little bit about some surprise landings. You had one out in New Tampa, somebody put one down, a little, Cessna or some kind of small plane.
Yeah, I saw the one on Bruce B. Downs. It looked like a crop duster. I'm not sure what happened there. Then they had the Mooney in the bay over there near Davis Island, and then they had one in Sarasota. So I'm imagining, or I'm thinking this is probably fuel starvation. I'm thinking the one in Sarasota was fuel starvation because that was a student, and he was doing his his solo. And the one in the Mooney, that could have been the same thing. I'm not sure. It's so young. I definitely don't know what happened to the guy that put it down in Bruce B. Downs. We did a great job.
Right.
He did an awesome job.
Right.
Everybody walked away from all 3 of those incidents.
Right.
Generally, it's not a maintenance issue. It's something wrong with the fuel, contaminated fuel, fuel starvation is generally the reason these things happen.
I could not imagine taking my exam, like you mentioned, and having an issue, and you think, are you trying to play me? Is this a trick? You're trying to get me to react in a test situation? And then like, no, man.
They train you for that. That's what you're training for.
Wow.
We're training to learn how to fly an aircraft. You're not learning how to fly it from point A to point B. You're learning how to fly it when you have emergency procedures that sometimes happen.
We talk like that in my field of TV and television. I talk like about it's a theory. There's lots of different ways to edit. There's lots of different software and all different hardware. You have to think about what you're doing all the time,
right.
And that way it'll guide you along a little bit to try to get through something like that. All right, now you got a bunch going on with your movies. Just tell us, go through your books for a second, Captain.
All right, well, I got 2 books. I have Falling from the Sky, which is about my incarceration and me overcoming the adversity of the judicial system, right. Having a judge removed from the bench because she just was a bad judge. Right. And there's some bad judges out there, just like there's some bad cops out there.
Yep.
And the big thing for writing the book was to expose the criminal injustice within the justice system. And there's a lot of it going on. Mm-hmm. It's more open now than it was then. And that turned into an opportunity where a gentleman that locally that co-produced a movie here in Tampa, David Yates, he saw it on social media, talked to my ghostwriter and says, I need to talk to this guy, Will. Yeah. And we got together and started talking. He goes, you got a story here. And he's experienced some of the judicial system too, but in another state.
Okay.
And that's where the connection was. So right now I'm working with the gentleman, and his name happens to be David, and he's up in Tennessee, and he's written a lot of movies for like Lionsgate on that side. So he's now taking my treatment, we're turning it into a pitchable treatment to pitch to Netflix and Lionsgate.
Gotcha.
I just got a text from him this morning. They're finishing up, so they're going to have it to where it's pitch form, and then we're going to give it to David Yates, and then we'll let David up in Tennessee pitch to his guys in California and see where it goes from there.
You got so many unique parts both your books. Is there any crossover? Do you try to bring any of the elements from it's kind of like a lesson you learned?
The books went in 2 different directions. So Falling from the Sky is going to be, a movie. And then Ditches to Riches, that was me literally when I got out of prison. I'd lost everything, was sleeping on my friend's couch. I had no car, I had nowhere to live, I had no money, I had nothing. I'd spent everything getting out and proving my innocence. And from that point, I grew and got back into aviation. And what I teach people now is not just coming out of prison, but maybe people that are overcoming a drug addiction, maybe someone that's overcoming a extreme loss or a husband or maybe a divorce, on how to overcome that adversity. And I wrote that book. No matter what you have to do or what you're going through, it will get better if you keep on plugging at it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people give up on themselves because they're like, they want to throw their hands up after 2 or 3 years of struggling and say, I just can't do this anymore. That's and right. The book was written for that. Now, I do go to prisons here locally. I go to Zephyr Hills Prison and I talk and I teach. I've got a workbook that I've just produced and it's copyrighted and printed for Ditches to Riches. And what I do with this is I teach out of that. So what I've recently done with Zephyr Hills is I've gone to the prison, had the workbook, work with the 501(c)(3)s, cons helping cons, and also in the recidivism rate. Right. And they are getting groups of people together. Now I'm teaching. So they know what to expect when they come out of prison. Because when you're in prison for a long period of time, you come something called institutionalized. Right. And you're used to always asking, have to go to the bathroom, when to eat, when to shower, and all this other stuff. And there's a higher amount of respect in a prison system that is out here. There's no entitlements in prison. You have to, it's teaching those people not to get pissed off when they're disrespected.
I think it's completely a valid point to talk about hope, because when you're incarcerated, especially in the situation that Capt Will went through, where you're wrongfully incarcerated. Can you imagine feeling how alone you feel in there? You're wrongfully incarcerated. You can start to lose hope. And if you don't have somebody out there telling you, hey, there's a way out of this, I've been where you are and I can get you a help here, it could easily turn south. I could see how you mentally it'd be hard to combat that kind of thing.
Well, it is, because now you don't have the security of having 3 square meals. You don't have a place to sleep. You don't have any type of income to help support yourself. And what we're doing and working with Tallahassee is making sure that the inmates, once they're released, they have some type of health care for the first 12 months. They have somewhere to live, and they have a job. Right. Because the institution itself sets the person up for failure. They give them a little check and a bus pass. Right. Now, what are they going to do with that check when they go to the bus station?
Yeah, the whole idea of having self-value, seeing that you have value and you have worth, and you can get out there and show that you have that worth. If you're constantly berated and told you're nothing and you're trash, you just don't come out with that spirit that I can do something. You don't have that positive momentum.
And when you get out, you have door slammed in your face, and people look down on you and they frown on you. You feel like, and you come out paranoid. You think everybody's talking about you. You think somebody's trying to take something from you, and it's that part that I teach the guys. Hey, you don't have to feel that way. Yes, this is going to happen, but let's focus. Be selfish when we get out and focus on yourself and where you're going to be and create a goal.
I really think that redemption is such a great thing. And nowadays in our society, we realize that a second chance is out there for folks. We don't look down. We should not, because we've all been in that same situation. It's so easy to judge, especially with this internet. You don't have to show your face. You can say all these ridiculous comments that you'd never say to somebody's face. Yeah. So the idea that now you're more brazen, or you can say whatever you want, I just love the idea that you can maintain your self-value even when you've been wronged if you have that positive belief and you have, like you said, a structure, a plan, and you get to your destination day by day.
Yep, that's correct. And everybody in life has done something they probably should have been arrested for.
Right.
The difference is they didn't get caught.
Right.
So, and it's we've all done something. And one of the things I tell people is never break two laws at the same time. So.
That's a good idea. Keep it one at a time. Keep it simple. That's my goal too.
So but it's exciting. I love to help people, and I'm getting a lot of what I get out of this is seeing people or people coming up to me or calling me and say thank you.
Right.
That's what I really get out of it. That's why I'm doing this. I don't do it because of the dollar bills. I do it because it helps another human being. And at the end of the day, I look at at the end of my life, I want to be able to say, hey, I did something positive to help humanity, and that's my driving force.
100%. That's all what we're about here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Just yesterday, I think, on the show, we had a story about how a study indicates that helping others has a positive impact on you greater than helping yourself. They gave people a bunch of cash and said, hey, you guys spend this on yourself. You spend this on somebody else. That was randomly given to them. At the end of the day, an independent poller said, how was your day today? They got more positive responses from the people that spent the money on another than on themselves.
Right.
So it's that idea that there's a feeling of self-gratitude. You got to try this. You talk, pay it forward. You hear expressions like this. Man, it's such a great feeling when you can help somebody else and see them take to it and realize they can do this now.
Yeah, exactly. And they feel that they're not alone.
Yeah.
When you're going out there and you're helping someone that needs the help and is really struggling, because you don't know what somebody's going through every day. And a simple, hey, how are you, goes a long way. And when you go out of your way, it's the difference between being altruistic and egotistic. And I talk about that in the book.
I want to ask you a little bit about your experiences, not just your experience in prison, but visiting the inmates and so on. How about the facilities here in our state or nearby, or the ones you visit? Have it changed since you were incarcerated in the system? Do you see anything where can we go to help the system help these guys?
Well, the 501c3s are really helping them. The system itself, the institution of the prison, they pretty much stay the same. It still looks, these prison walls look just the same as the prison walls I saw 16, 17 years ago. So that hasn't changed. What I see changing is outside of those walls. That's what really needs to change. And what I see there is, like I said, cons helping cons, and the recidivism rate. We have donors that give money to help with men and women that are being released from prison, so they don't fail.
Right.
Like I said, the institutions themselves set them up for failure. The institution themselves need inmates, because they don't get the federal grants, they don't get the state grants, the things that keep these things functioning, which is our taxpayer dollar. What we really need to do is parlay that money to something better. So when they get paroled, instead of putting them in prison for $40,000, then they take that $40,000 for the first 12 months that they get out, and they use it for good. Education, housing, clothing, things of that nature.
It'd be great if we could incentivize the institution based on the conduct post incarceration. So we let them out. How they perform is a reflection on the institution. So
Correct.
If we want more dollars, or we want to be praised, or we want to get our raises, we've got to have our inmates function in society when they get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what would help the institution itself. But in order for that to happen, there needs to be programs like the one I've developed and many others have developed that help them get out so they know where to go. It's just as simple things like technology. You've been locked up for 20 years. You don't know what this is.
Absolutely.
And you don't know how to use this.
Right.
And then the cars today, which is the technology, they get in a car and drive it. They don't know what all.
And
those
what you do is you
do.
tend to withdraw and shut off and not ask questions or get, you're embarrassed or whatever it is, that sense that I don't know what's going on anymore, I'm out of touch. That creates that wall again that it's hard to break down.
Well, it makes them feel insecure that they're not smart enough.
Yeah.
Because the technology is so far advanced now, they just don't get it. And they struggle to learn. But learning is a struggling process. I mean, you're not going to, like learning how to fly an airplane.
Sure.
You're not going to jump in the first 2 hours and just, and fly it like you've been flying it for 20 years. It's a struggle. But that struggle creates a process, which creates a goal, which creates success. I
love the idea that you and Thomas get out there and try to help change the mindset of the community, because that stigma that's attached is part of the reason we don't fund police. We just say lock them up, or more bars, more guards. We don't want to donate to causes and institutions that try to build these people back up.
Right.
It's as if to take a law and order stand is to just throw away the key.
Yep, and that's not the correct way, because you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
And you're now putting the burden on the taxpayers.
Yep.
The rest of that life is on us now.
Yeah, and as inflation occurs, it's going to cost more and more to house an inmate. And you've got to think, an average $40,000 a year per inmate.
And you mentioned the privatization. Now the motivation for it's a business.
Yeah.
This guy's running a business. He needs clients.
Yep, exactly. So they want them to, but it's sad, but a lot of the prison systems are also used for housing the mentally insane.
Right. Yeah, we have done a poor job with mental health in this country.
And that's something we really need to work on too, because when you're born, you know no evil, you don't know any wrong.
Right.
You're taught that, you become a product of your environment, and that's the big thing about the family nucleus that I also speak about in the book, is we got to get our moms and dads together and raise our kids together like we did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, and when you incentivize dads to stay away or mothers to stay away from the father, you're going to continue to breed the same type of person, and it over and over again.
That's what they say. It takes a village.
Yep.
All right. Tell us about what's the next thing we need to know, Captain, in the book, and then best way to get people to get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your whole cause.
If they want to learn about the cause and what we're doing, go to CaptainWillsSmith.com.
Okay.
And it has. I update it monthly, sometimes weekly, depending on what's going on. If you want to get involved in the movie aspect of it, the production side, we do have sponsorships. You can get in touch with me through CaptainWillsSmith.com on that.
Okay.
With our sponsorships, we have sponsor packages. If you want to be involved with the movie, when we start casting, once we get to that part, we'll have a page on CaptainWillsSmith.com on how you can be active in the movie part of it as well.
Now, you're going to have to be a handsome devil if you're going to play Captain Will. I'm imagining.
we joked about that, so we should have Will Smith play Will Smith.
There's a twist. I like that one. All right, Captain, thanks so much for coming in. Always great stuff, man. I learn so much every time you're on. Don't go anywhere. I got a feel-good story for you about horseshoe crabs. You talked a little bit about FWC asking for your help. And Ray Hall Appraisals is right here in our Salem Media Group studios. Find out what your home's worth and what the one you want to buy is worth. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback.
The Consumer Quarterback Show will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
Hey, Margie here with the Consumer Quarterback Show and the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. If you're buying, selling, or investing, please give us a shot. We would love to help you. We are a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and you can reach us at 813-750-0550. Call or text 813-750-0550. ConsumerQB.com.
Hey,
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty, and a top listing agent in Tampa Bay, featured in Florida Realtor Magazine, Top Agent Magazine, The Business Journal. We're looking for inventory. Attention sellers, we need more inventory to sell. If you're a seller on the fence thinking about selling your property, we want to hear from you. Free comparable market analysis. Check out consumerqb.com.
Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
That's right. Give Brandon a call. That way you can check out all the properties that we pitch here on the Consumer Quarterback Show and check out our great sponsors like Discovery Golf Cars. Discovery Golf Cars for everyone. 2 locations right here in Tampa Bay if you're interested in getting a golf cart. And I see these kids having a great time on it. I see parents walking the dogs. Everybody's out with their golf cart. If you need one, Discovery Golf Cars, also known as Golf Cart Depot. That's our boy. Get in touch with them. They have lots of great products and they take great care of you. And of course, Brandon and the Platinum MVP team still have some real estate out there in our real estate market, even though we're a little scarce on the supply side. What do you got for me, Johnny? Let's put something up there. All right, if you're looking to get into Lithia, this is a new one I have not seen. 12631 Hobson Simmons Road in Lithia. This is 12 acres. Wow, water, sewer, power, and cable available. Builders and developers, man, this is a prime opportunity right here. Beautiful country estate opportunity, and the owner will consider any offer. So be creative out there. 12631 Hobson Simmons Road in Lithia. Man, that's a lot of land. 12 acres. That is sharp. What else you got for me, John? Here's one, if you're in the Tampa area, 6012 South Russell. This is a 2,900 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, custom-built home with in a Ballast Point community. You got the high ceilings in there, Ray. Does that add some value? 9 foot 9 inch, it says.
Well, I don't know about, adding value per se, but that's usually the sign that it's a nicer home and it's going to be priced up
That's
there.
That's right. So 6012 South Russell. Get in touch with Brandon. We got some great opportunities for you. And that was Ray Hall from Ray Hall Appraisals. You just started jumping in there. What's been going on, Ray?
Just driving around. I bought a new company car over the summer and putting the miles on it.
So when you say driving around, you're always interested in knowing what's for sale, what's just got sold, and what might be for sale.
Plus I got to go inspect the houses, do the appraisals. It's still a low interest rate. A lot of people still refinancing. A lot of purchases going on. A lot of people still moving to Florida. So it's a very active market.
Our market is active, and it's been different many different times. Have you ever done an appraisal, and because we're flipping so fast, you're right back at the same property again in no time at all because someone else bought and sold?
Not so much that quick. Usually, I just had one the other day. I appraised it about a year ago. So in that situation, I have to notify the client right away and say, hey, I appraised this property before because they might not want to use me. Oh. And so we did that, and they actually was the same client, and it was the borrower was hopeful they would get me again. So I guess they liked me.
Interesting. So I haven't thought about that in that way. So that you and your appraisal, if done a year ago, what would influence the seller to like that concept or dislike the idea that it was just appraised a year ago because maybe their number's way too high based on the previous assessment?
Well, not so much that. It all depends on, so the bank is the one who's really hiring me to do the appraisal. It's their appraisal technically. So it could be, the appraisal was done and they didn't like it, but it could also be I did it for another lender, and maybe they're wanting another point of view. So let's say I appraised the house, and let's just say I said it was $300,000. Well, obviously, I'm not going to come back now and say, "Oh no, it's only $100,000." Right. I'm going to try to, not that I'm going to try to support what I said, but I'm going to take a look at the market. But they may say, "Well, I don't want that appraiser. I want someone different. I want a new, fresh opinion of value." Because obviously, I'm going to go off what I saw the last time, and I'm going to consider all that.
Well, that would lead me to if the new appraisal is a far different ballgame than you were in, what is the obligation there of the bank? Would then the bank step back and go, boy, we're quite a different valuation here?
It could be, yeah. And it's happened before where I had a situation that I'm dealing with it now, and it was
I'm sorry, I ran you into a break. I wasn't paying attention,
right.
Ray. We're going to pick it up after the other side. When Ray's here, I get a lot of questions because I don't have a lot of depth in this area. Don't go anywhere. Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
That was my bad entirely. Sorry about that.
Because it was an over 3,000 square foot house. Fannie Mae came back with dated comparables that are smaller. So that was value.
Hey, James, can you hear me?
Yeah, I did. I got you. It was still on me, Jose. Whatever you say, it's still my fault for not paying attention. All right. You feel good, John? Mm-hmm. All right. We're ready to go.
All righty, stand by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right. ConsumerQB.com is a great resource for all our listeners out there in the audience. Whether you're catching the show on AM 860 in our drive time position or watching on the YouTube channel that Brandon Rhymes and Platinum MVP team have put together, we've got a lot of great content for you out there. We've got a great sponsor for this segment, Replenish IV Solutions. Everyone's concerned about their immune system. Replenish IV Solutions can help you in that department. They'll come directly to your home or business if you can't make it to one of their Bay Area locations, and they'll give you a direct infusion, minerals, vitamins, everything you need to stay healthy. So get in touch with Steve and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. Really cool business model, and again, a longtime friend of the program. And of course, we're going to look at a few properties, just one this time, Johnny. What do you got? What's a property that Brandon has for sale from the Platinum MVP team that we can talk about here? Here's one in Hudson, 15806 Adobe Drive. This is about 2,600 square feet, 8 bedrooms and 4 baths. Holy cow. Gas, wood, burning fireplace, vaulted ceilings, got a wood deck and stainless steel appliances, gas stove. We're talking about a sauna, walk-in shower, and garden tub. Really beautiful property. 15806 Adobe. If you want to get into Hudson, man, get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team. That looks like a great opportunity. All right, Ray Hall is in the house. Ray Hall Appraisals, always educating me a little bit about how we get to these values and what's the next thing coming in our market. As far as trends in houses, you'd be the one to know, Ray. Talk about some of the areas and what's going on in our areas of Tampa Bay here.
I've recently been seeing kind of a slowdown in that upward trend. You know, we really saw the value skyrocket after COVID.
Right.
I would say we had a little bit of a dip after, in 2020 in about March, maybe April, things slowed down. Then all of a sudden it just shot out and it was skyrocketing. Now I'm not seeing those trends like we were seeing.
Okay.
Some areas I've even seen a little bit of a pullback, but that's not a bad thing. You don't want that constant upward trend. You want that foundation.
So between areas, say St. Pete and New Tampa and all the different areas that comprise Tampa Bay, what is the one that has changed, or what do you see moving radically? Or is there one that's been high priced or jumped?
All these areas have.
Right.
I haven't seen one specific area that was more than any others, just because Florida itself has become so popular.
Right.
And there's so many people coming down that it's just everywhere.
I got you. Now that means more for Ray Hall Appraisals. Have you been adding staff or adding people on board? What are you doing?
I have. So I just hired a new appraiser probably about a week or two ago, and she's been doing some great work for me. I'm going to be hiring another. So if you're a licensed trainee and you're looking for a place to work, please call my office.
Now, if you have a background in appraisal and you're good at it, how do you translate from market to market? Don't you have to learn the Bay Area to be effective down here?
It's all in your research.
Okay.
You've got to know what you're looking for. Like I'm also a commercial appraiser. Now, residential, I stay in the 5 counties of the Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
We're about to expand into some other counties, but commercial, I've gone all over the state. So it's just a matter of your process. It's learning about that neighborhood. You drive through the area. You see the differences in how things are looking.
So you mentioned residential, you do commercial. You've also been the burial mound thing. I mean, you've had some crazy different properties that you've had to appraise. So this is why you choose Ray Hall, because he's had this experience over time. The residential side, like you said, you can get to learn that, I think, from really pushing it and learning it.
Absolutely.
But you got to be sent out to one of these odd properties or these unique circumstances to start to say, how would I even get to appraise the value of something that has an Indian burial mound in it that's going to require removal or special archaeological digging or something like that?
Right.
There's a lot of factors that go into learning everything about property appraisal.
Right, and I mean, I had to, for that property that was so unique, I literally had to call USF.
Right.
I had to call the state. I had to find out, exactly what you could do. So,
who out there is ready to tell you the cost of removing ancient artifacts? I mean, that's quite an involved process.
See, I was fortunate. So I called the was it the archaeological department at USF, and he says, I know a guy who has a company who does that. Let me call him up. He called me back. He said he knows that mound, and it would cost $1 million to take the mound out. Now, the land was not worth $1 million, so highest and best use, keep the land there, assemble it to the property next door, and you just increased your development rights. So I had to look at it that the value was what's the land on a price per allowable unit. It had increased that. That's how we did the appraisal, and that's where it came in.
I see. Now, what other things in the commercial side don't I anticipate? I know we try to get a feel for the footprint and how long it's been in operation. If you were going to change the business, that's different from assuming the previous business in terms of values?
That's called going concern value.
Okay.
So a business that's established and working in there and the profit they're making and that contributory value, that's going concern value. So when I go into an appraisal, I'm just doing the real estate. I just had an instance where I had someone building this big giant mansion out by Orlando.
Okay.
And they had a commercial appraisal done, and he was very adamant to me that it was worth this certain amount, which seemed extremely high to me. And he was just constantly with it. Well, I was hired to do the real estate. He sent me the appraisal he had done, and that number he stated included what they call the chattel. So this was going to be an Airbnb, so all the bedding, all the personal items, it included that. It included the potential income. It included all this other stuff that was going concern. So he was kind of trying to pull the wool over my eyes to get me to double the value of the house. So, and as an appraiser, that's one of those things that you have to be able to spot, and you can't be swayed.
So you learn over time, and then, of course, like I said, Ray's been doing it for a while, and of course, in our unique market here, so he has a feel for what's out there. What about models and construction types? Have you seen houses change styles that added some value? We talk a lot about kitchen and bath upgrades all the time when you want to add value. In our state, we have Fred Muth from Tampa Screens comes on and talks about screen rooms and lanais and how you can get value adding onto that kind of thing. Is there a feature that you see now prominent in real estate market around our area that adds value that folks are thinking of besides just kitchen and bath?
Well, it's hard, and people always ask that, is it one feature? Well, when we're appraising, I'm not looking at it where, okay, you've got the quartz countertops for $3,000, I'm increasing your value by $3,000. It doesn't work that way.
It's not one-to-one.
It's not one-to-one. The value comes from, I'm looking at your house that has, say, all these renovations. It has the new kitchen, it has all this. Now I look at the other houses in the neighborhood. Well, what do they have? This one doesn't have a renovated kitchen. This one does have a renovated kitchen, and it's sold for $10,000 more. I can make that condition adjustment of $10,000, and that was called a paired sales analysis. So that's how it works. And I've even had pushback from lenders and even Fannie Mae saying, you had this feature, you didn't adjust for it, and you should have. And I had to say to them, well, yeah, it has that feature there on that comparable. This one doesn't. And this one sold higher, so do you want me to just make up an adjustment and just slap it on there, because that's a violation?
It can get quite complicated. Ray Hall Appraisals is who you want to get in touch with. Ray, so really, folks buying, selling, who else might benefit from an appraisal?
I just finished one now for a divorce to help them settle that in court. Taxes, if probably not having that problem right now, but if you feel that your assessed value is too high and you're being taxed on that, you hire an appraiser to do that. And sometimes unique homes, when sometimes the realtors even have trouble finding that good list price.
Right.
Or maybe your house has been on the market for 6 months, in a market where everyone else is selling in 7 days, you can have an appraisal done. And, you can even, sometimes we go out and we'll just do kind of a little more inexpensive of an appraisal than we would do for the bank, just to kind of get that value.
So if you're a homeowner out there and you've been in the same spot for 10, 15, 20 years, you might not know what the relative values are in your neighborhood and what you've done. I mean, I'm not aware of all the sales that go on in my neighborhood. I imagine few are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so Ray is the guy to get those values and help you kind of plan how you're going to get what you want when it comes to getting what you want for your house.
Or what you could get.
That's right.
We all want.
It's what you could get. All right, Ray, how to get in touch with you for folks out there who want an appraisal?
You can go to my website, rayhallappraisals.com, or you can call my office at 813-452-5369.
Thanks so much. Ray Hall Appraisals, Ray Hall in the house. Thanks for coming in, Ray. And don't go anywhere, guys. We got a feel-good story for you, like Brandon always wants to tell you. This one's about the FWC, our own environment right here in the Bay Area. You guys can get involved and help out. So we're going to talk all about that. Michael Watkins, Principal, Tampa Bay Advisory, 401k Revival. You've heard him on the show before. He's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
Please do give Brandon a call. Anything you hear on the program, he can help you out with, whether it's properties or sponsors. We have a great one for this segment, Brothers Easy Moving. Whether you're going local or long distance, these are the guys for you. This moving company, Brothers Easy Moving, became the official moving sponsor of the Consumer Quarterback Show when they moved Brandon into his new place. These guys really will go the extra mile for you. Lots of 5-star reviews online. Again, Brothers Easy Moving. Get in touch with them for all your moving needs. We got a feel-good story for you. Any of you guys headed out to the beach, you can help out the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. It turns out FWC is asking beachgoers to help track horseshoe crab sightings during mating season. Horseshoe crabs, if you don't know, they've been around for about 450 million years. Florida wildlife officials are still learning about their populations in the Sunshine State. Recently, their numbers have declined in recent decades due to overfishing and loss of habitat. Red tide has also impacted their population here in the Bay. Because of this, Florida Fish Wildlife Conservation Commission is asking the public to help them track these horseshoe crabs. If you see a horseshoe crab on its back, gently pick it up, flip it over, and release it back into the water. Simple actions like this can help conserve the species. Again, if you sight one and you want to report it, they have a website, FWC. Fill out the little form, tell the biologist with important population distribution information, and they'll help preserve the species right here in St. Pete. So there's a chance for you to help out and keep our environment going. Michael Watkins, I learned something every time you're on the show. Thanks for coming in right here in our Salem Media Group studios. 401k Revival. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I'm on a crusade, I guess you could say, James, and it's kind of like when you discover the good news of Jesus Christ, you want to share it with everyone. And so what I'm trying to do is to bring awareness to people that there's new technology, there's new risk management strategies for 401k account holders. And so professionally, what I do is I help people map out their retirement. And I do so with lifestyle, good, healthy habits and all of that, as well as their, financial dealings. So with that being said, over the last 10 years, I've come to realize that people's accounts are woefully inadequate to support the retirement dreams that they have.
Can we stop you for 1 minute, Michael? Do you find folks out there that are unaware of what that their 401k has a value? I mean, they've taken a job. This is kind of accumulating in the background, perhaps, and they don't really know what it is. I'm woefully uneducated in this kind of thing. I imagine you run into folks that don't even realize what they have.
Right, exactly. And most people just don't pay attention to it. And that's the problem. So I'm trying to bring awareness to it that if you dive in a little bit, you get some professional management for this, you can have a substantially better ending balance than if not managed professionally. So, people have short memory spans in the United States, right? And a lot of people aren't thinking about the 2000 and 2008 crash right now. Real estate's at all-time highs.
Right.
401ks are at all-time highs. And this is the challenge that I face, trying to let people know that there are new tools available to them that were not available back then. And so, like I said, people are working hard. They've got their head down. They're busy raising a family. They're doing what they do, and they really don't have time to mess around with trying to figure out a 401k account. And I think a lot of times people wait for a trigger.
Right.
They wait for a trigger to happen. For example, health. You go to the doctor, hey, your cholesterol's high, you need to get in the gym, you need to make some life changes. Well, it's challenging for people to make changes right now when they see everything going so well. And I'll give you an example. God gave us this body temple to house our spirit, our mind, and our souls. And sometimes we get a wake-up call and we think, okay, well, we need to do something a little bit better here. And so what do people do? They get the deluxe membership to the gym. They go in for 3 weeks and then, change their diet. Right. And then after a month or two, it's all over with. Okay. And so it's just one of those things. But, people.
One of the other triggers might be a change of profession. Again, I was employed at one place for a long time. Didn't consider what options I had for my 401k till it came time to change professions and start another job, and they asking me questions. Are we going to roll this over? What are we going to do with it? I had no idea what I was going to do with it. What is this? How do I get those strategies? I got to get somebody like you to say, hey, you better have a strategy if you're going to change your 401k or modify it or be asked when you're changing professions.
Oh, of course. And that's in the business, that's what we term orphan 401ks. And so this is one of the biggest mistakes that people are making, quite frankly. They're leaving orphan 401ks behind. They're not contributing to them. They're being eroded by fees when they could go ahead and roll it out into an IRA or even put it into the market for growth. So
this is some unique knowledge that folks out there, you need to get in touch with. Michael, I'm woefully uneducated in this area. Did not even realize the power of a 401k. I understand you got a graphic for us that you gave me to give to John. What does the future of 401ks look like there?
Yeah, so if we have that
go ahead. Tell me about
graphic. Yeah, so, the first one is $10,000, growth of $10,000 in the S&P from 1979 till 2020, and it grows to approximately $200,000.
Okay.
But that's including all of the downturns in the 401k. If you avoided 10 of the worst trading days, that would be over $500,000.
So just a simple change like that, and then you've added that value.
Yeah, it's the risk management that I'm trying to educate people about.
I see.
And if you listen to me long enough, you'll hear this over and over again. The less you lose, the more you get to keep.
That's right. It makes perfect sense. All right, so when we're looking at the future, you're talking about what the 401k, the future looks like. That's where people can really see the power, because they think we're going to contribute funds, but this is going to grow over time, and then you realize, wow, I've been making this modest input here, and look at the pay that's coming at the end.
Sure, absolutely. And so Aon Hewitt did a study back in 2014, and they measured the performance gap between non-professionally managed accounts and professionally managed accounts. And there was a 3.32% difference. Now, that might not sound much, but when you implement that for a 45-year-old between 45 and 65, that's a 79% growth.
Wow.
And so I've translated that for you. That's the difference between a $500,000 account in a $900,000 account.
So night and day, doubling almost. We're in that position where just having a professional who can see things coming down the road and have a plan for you can make big differences when it comes time to take advantage of this 401k.
Right.
Now I want to ask you what a 2R option. Again, I don't know anything about it. Tell us about the 2R option you mentioned in your book.
Okay, yeah, that's something that plan participants can look in their 401k. If you see the 2R option, that means there's a window that is open to you to use more than just what's allocated in the plan sponsor's 401k. Usually there's anywhere from 15 to 19 choices.
Now, tell me, what is the R in 2R?
It's just a code inside the 401k plan, and what that designates is a self-directed brokerage account, and that gives the individual the opportunity to use investment management professional, a 338 investment manager. And this is these are the types of people that can employ the risk management. So, for example, if the market starts to crash, they can scale your investments out to safety little by little. And this worked magnificently in March of 2020.
When's the last time we modified the laws regarding this kind of thing, that you had to update everyone or say, hey, there's been a change or tweak in our tax code or whatever it is that now affects your 401k? Is that something that happens all the time, or is it rare that we have a law change that affects the 401k strategy?
Well, that's a great question, and it's kind of a moving target.
I could imagine.
Yeah, and so if you haven't heard of IRMA, that's the income-related monthly adjusted amount. And that is it's a ruling that got passed in Congress in 2015. And so let's say you saved really well and you have all sorts of investments, but they're qualified investments, meaning that you took a tax deduction and they're investments like a 401k or an IRA or, municipal bonds, stuff like that.
Okay.
The government's going to penalize you when it comes time to taking your Medicare. And so people who save more are going to be penalized unless they know how to work around that, which is unwinding the qualified money to non-qualified money.
Well, if you're lost like me, then you better get in touch with Michael Watkins. Michael, what do most folks just call you, or how do they get to you?
Yeah, well, a lot of people read my book, The 401k Revival, available on Amazon.
How long has that book been out?
2 months.
Okay. So Michael Watkins, 401k Revival. Where can they find that book, Mike?
Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and also on the 401k Revival website.
Now, tell me the response. A lot of folks think, well, I'll read a book about a 401k, and then they read it, and they're like, I had no idea.
I've gotten such good response from my peers in the industry. And what I tried to do with this book was to write it without any of the financial jargon or mumbo jumbo that is associated with financial books.
I tell you, it's intimidating when you're outside the sphere to hear these comments and talk to somebody, because you don't know what it takes a few unique words to throw me off immediately. I don't know. I feel like I'm lost. I'm not keeping up with you.
Right.
And again, if you're not a mathematician, and I certainly have no skills in the math field, you could even tell me, hey, here's what you do, here's how this works, and you could show me the numbers, and I could still say, Michael, I just got to trust you on this.
Right.
So when folks out there feel like I need your help, and you try to educate them, and what are the simplest ways you can explain the benefits of what you can offer?
Yeah, well, I guess the simplest way is, let's say, change is hard, okay? And, trying to manage something as complicated as a 401k account is really not in most people's wheelhouse.
Right.
And so it's the same thing like the example of the gym membership, okay? Going in, busting your butt and trying to get results and quitting. So likewise, you can get the same incredible results like if you used a personal trainer or something like that for a period of time, but never walk in the gym, never lift a weight, but you get those results anyway, and that's what happens when you can use professional
that's what you
management.
Want. All right, Mike, we're coming down to the last minute or so. I want to let folks, is there anything you want a common mistake you see people making, or the kind of things that you want to make sure that they know, hey, don't do this, or if you're thinking about doing this, give me a call and let me work with you a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I would say, for the people that are early career and mid-career, you need a plan. And the great investor Warren Buffett said that, failing to plan is planning to fail.
That's right.
And it's so true. And I know Brandon talked, last time about a postal worker that just saved all his life and retired a millionaire. Well, that didn't happen just by happenstance. There was a plan involved.
Absolutely.
And so I think the biggest thing that I could say to people is it's not about the return on investment, it's about your risk management. Because even mediocre investments rise with the tide. But if you don't have a good risk management plan in place, that can get ripped in half, just like in 2000 and 2008.
And we don't want that to happen. Protect yourself, protect your money. Yep. Michael Watkins, Principal, Tampa Bay Advisory. Again, his book, The 401k Revival's out there. I want to thank Michael so much for coming into our Salem Media Group studios, as well as Ray Hall and Captain Will Smith. I want to thank Brandon for giving me the opportunity to host when he's not around. And if you want to check out our partners, our sponsors, or the real estate, go to the YouTube channel. I want to encourage everyone to go to the YouTube channel. Lots of great content. The shows, of course, are archived there, in addition to some live clips and different things that we've done over the years. But that's the way you're really going to get in touch with the show. And we want to encourage you because we feel there's real value for you. So again, thanks for listening. This has been The Consumer Quarterback.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.